Highlights of the 2015 South African Rally Championship is proudly presented by the South African Rally Commission and its partners Toyota, Volkswagen, Ford, Sasol and Dunlop. It's the middle of winter in a part of Limpopo that hasn't seen rain for ages. Add to the mix more than 20 of South Africa's fastest drivers in the fastest cars you can drive on dirt, and you can be sure of one thing. It's going to get dirty. This is the South African Rally Championship. But before we continue with this saga, let's cast our minds back a few weeks to when these insane guys and girls did battle on the high veld of Mpumalanga during the first ever Secunda Motor Rally. And it was arch rivals Mark Cronje and Leroy Polter who were at each other's throats once again. But the current champion had a setback early on, leaving Cronje to romp to yet another dominant victory. Behind Cronje, Janelle de Villiers returned to form with a fine second-place finish, ahead of a very consistent Gugu Zulu. 3 wins out of 3 earns Mark Cronje a perfect score of 48 points, a full 17 ahead of Leroy Polter. Gugu Zulu is having a great season and occupies 3rd, just ahead of Janelle de Villiers. Henk Latergan rounds out the top 5. And this is the second ever Bela Bela Motor Rally, held in the popular Limpopo town known for its famous hot springs, or the pot that boils, if you translate its name from local Tswana into English. This year, the organisers and local business and landowners went one step further in order to put on an even bigger spectacle. The action started a day early with the scrutineering taking place at the Century 21 Properties offices, where fans once again received an opportunity to get up close and personal with their heroes and their favourite cars. With the winter sun warming up the bushveld, it was time to prepare for battle. And after 3 rounds of fighting, this war was already heading towards a 2-way showdown. Leroy Polter is the defending champion, but Mark Cronje has won all 3 events so far, so the pressure is on Polter.
You know, we've had a bit of a tough time, definitely the last race, and Mark's had obviously 3 wins, so we're going to have to try and turn the tables.
I think he's going to come back hard, and he's got no option now. He's really got to put his head down. So I think for us, we need to stay focused on what's important. That's the championship, and that's really what we're going to be focusing on.
Consistency goes a long way in motorsport, so no surprise that Gugu Zulu is currently 3rd on the points table, but he has very experienced Janelle de Villiers looking over his shoulder.
It's awesome that we have a Dakar legend, you know, kind of following on my heels at the moment.
You know, it could have been better if we didn't have the DNF in the Sasol rally, which was very disappointing, only a couple of Ks from the finish, but you know, that's in the past now.
5th on the points table belongs to Henk Latergan, who has shown great speed, but he needs to turn it into results.
Stages where we're going clean, the pace has been really good, but it's now to string it together and put a whole rally together instead of just a few stages. And
expect a whole gaggle of drivers to gun for glory. Tilo Himmel is someone who gets faster with every outing, while Japie van Niekerk has the ability and speed to beat anyone on any given day. Youngster Ernie van der Walt will contest his 3rd event in the Premier class, while double former champion Hartgen Fekkel is back and hungry for action. In the NRC4 class for older specification S2000s, Namibian Wilro Dippenaar will be favourite to regain his crown, but he will have to fend off the likes of Tian Subar and Piet Bakkes. A compact route of 180 kilometres against the stopwatch is on the cards, with 4 stages scheduled for the first day of the event and another 6 for the Saturday, all within easy reach of the town. The Bela Mall hosted the start ceremony where Gilles de Villiers was the first car to be waved off the start ramp. He was followed by Namibian Wilro Dippenaar, young gun Henk Lateghan, champion Leroy Poulter, championship leader Mark Cronje, fellow Ford of Japie van Niekerk, the popular Gugu Zulu, and Volkswagen stalwart Hargen Vekken. And this will be their first challenge. Stage 1, or Century 21, consists of 18 kilometres of very sandy, dusty, but perhaps more importantly, narrow dirt roads on the outskirts of Bela Bela. It was to be immediately followed by another 10 kilometres test near the Bela Bela waterfront. It is the Castrol Toyota Yaris of Gilles de Villiers and co-driver Carolyn Swan to get proceedings underway as they flew off into the Limpopo bushveld. But all eyes are on the dice between former double champions Mark Cronje and Robin Houghton and defending champions Leroy Poulter and Alvin Coetzee. The Ford has been dominant so far in 2015, so for Poulter and the Toyota, the Bela Bela rally was simply a must-win situation.
1-1 is turn left 18. 1-1 is turn left 18. Keep it straight, keep it straight.
That was a very scary moment for Cronje early on in stage 1. The damage to the Ford was minimal, and the duel between these two arch-rivals continued on stage 2. But thanks to Cronje's little mishap on stage 1 and another faster stage time on stage 2, it's the current champion Poulter who takes the early rally lead by 11 seconds over his rival Cronje. With Poulter and Cronje already making their respective marks on the event, the question was, who would like to lead the rest of the field? And the answer came in the form of another former champion pairing. The Volkswagen Sasol Racing Polo of Hargen Vekken and Pierre Aris completed stage 2 just 13 seconds behind the Ford of Cronje and in third. But behind Vekken, all hell broke loose with no less than 3 crews all fighting to close in on a podium position. Namibian driver Thilo Himmel and South African co-driver Armand de Toy put in a sterling performance to grab an early 4th place in their Volkswagen Genuine Parts Polo. But they were just 2 short seconds ahead of road sweepers Gilles de Villiers and Carolyn Swan in the Castrol Yaris. And breathing down the neck of the de Villiers Toyota was the new Africa Developments Ford Fiesta of Japie van Niekerk and Gerard Snyman, just a further 3 seconds back. Everyone was expecting to see the names of Henk Lateghan and Barry White near the top of the leaderboard, but the Volkswagen Sasol Racing Polo picked up a puncture early on, costing him valuable seconds.
Yeah, we flipped something on one of the banks, and then we got a puncture.
Volkswagen teammates Gugu Zulu and Hilton Ofri opened their accounts with 2 trouble-free runs over the first 2 stages, but found themselves 46 seconds off the lead. While Wilro Dippenaar and Kes Naidu led the way in the NRC4 class. The PZM panel beaters Oris had a good lead over the accident guru Oris of Piet Bakkes and Sean Visser. After 2 action-packed stages and 30 kilometres of gravel road racing, it's Leroy Poulter who takes an 11-second lead over rival Mark Cronje. Hargen Vekken is the best of the rest and trails Poulter by 24 seconds, with just a further 2 seconds separating Thilo Himmel and Gilles de Villiers in 4th and 5th, respectively. A visit to the Dunlop Service Park in the heart of Bela Bela across the road from the famous Forever Resort provided a chance to catch a breather while technicians attended to the cars. And a good start for Harry van Vecken, who's currently in third.
And there's a pack of guys just behind me, 3 seconds behind, so we have to keep them behind.
But the top spot is what it's all about. And for once this season, it's Leroy Poulter who got the whole shot ahead of rival Marc Grenier.
Bit of a rocky start there. We had an overshoot this morning.
You know, it's tight through the second one. It was only 1 second. So let's see in the repeat.
Stages 3 and 4 were in fact the exact same 30 kilometres of dusty roads used as stages 1 and 2. So another blast on the Century 21 property on the Rudderkale farm, to be followed by a second bite at the cherry in and around the Bela Bela waterfront residential estate. Young man Ernie van der Walt is only driving his third event behind the wheel of a premier-class Vecto Petroleum Toyota Yaris, and with the help of Greg Godridge in the co-driver's seat, did well to keep it together to occupy a position in the top 10. After the opening loop stages, Janelle de Villiers was involved in a fierce battle for a podium position. So the Castrol Toyota driver had everything to gain. But impact with a rock on stage 4 punctured a tyre, costing him more than 40 seconds and dropping him from 4th all the way down to 9th on the overall leaderboard.
Unfortunately, that's the way it goes, and you know, that's just a rock in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Finishing the day ahead of de Villiers was the PZN panel beaters Oris of Wilro Dippenaar, who set very competitive stage times on both these stages to also consolidate his NRC 4 class lead. Just a few seconds ahead of Dippenaar, a fierce battle was raging between no less than 3 Volkswagens. The Sasol Racing version Polo of Gugu Zulu was currently holding station in 7th position overall. Just 3 seconds ahead of Zulu after stage 4 was his teammate Henk Lateghan, who managed to climb a few positions on the overall leaderboard following his flat tyre from earlier in the day.
Right 2, 70k, right 7 short, into long NG, acute hairpin right.
This meant that Thilo Himmel in his Volkswagen Genuine Parts Polo was driving the rally of his life. The young Namibian was around 15 seconds ahead of his teammates and just 3 seconds behind 4th overall. The 4th overall in question belonged to Jaapie van Niekerk and Gerald Snyman in their Ford Fiesta. Van Niekerk is as fast as anyone on a good day and reached the end of day 1 less than 10 seconds away from a provisional podium position. With the field more or less sorting themselves out over this important loop of stages without any major drama unfolding, one had to wonder if the same would be true for the top 3. Leroy Poulter and Alvin Coetzee opened their account with 2 stage wins to take an early lead over the Ford Performance Fiesta of Marc Grenier and Robin Houghton, with the Volkswagen Sasol Racing Polo of Harry van Vecken and Pierre Arries slotting into 3rd. And on these 2 stages, the same pattern pretty much continued. Vecken gave it his all, but it was only good enough to consolidate his 3rd place overall, as the 2 crews ahead of him extended their advantage over the former champion.
Left 1, into turn, right line onto main.
And speaking of former champions, Marc Grenier and Robin Houghton started this loop of stages exactly 11 seconds behind Leroy Poulter and Alvin Coetzee, so the Ford crew had every intention to close the gap. But Poulter clearly had the bit between his teeth as he set another fastest time on stage 3 to extend his advantage over Grenier by another 6 seconds. Cronier did not take this lightly and put down the hammer on stage 4 to set a blistering pace. But again, Poulter had all the answers to claim his 4th stage win in as many stages, extending his overall advantage over Cronier to a full 19 seconds. It's the end of an action-packed first day on the 2nd ever Bela Bela Motor Rally, and 4 wins from 4 stages means a healthy lead at the top of the leaderboard for Leroy Poulter over his arch-rival Mark Cronier. Hargen Fekken is the best of the rest, but nearly half a minute behind. Japie van Niekerk is currently 4th, ahead of an excellent showing by Tilo Himmel in 5th. Back at the Dunlop Service Park, where the local Rotary Club have created a carnival atmosphere for the local rally fans, but inside it was serious business for the teams to prepare the cars for the next day. Hargen Fekken was still in a good 3rd position.
So far, so good.
Knowing Mark Cronier, one could be certain that 2nd was not good enough for the former champion.
But we've got a bit of homework to do, and I think we'll come out fighting.
And a dominant performance so far saw Leroy Poulter with 4 wins from 4 stages.
No dramas, no punctures, and hopefully we can keep it clean for tomorrow.
The sun has risen once again over the Limpopo bushveld, where the Bela Bela Motor Rally has reached its final day. And what a day it could turn out to be, with a duel between Leroy Poulter and Mark Cronier set to continue. But first things first. This is the battlefield for Day 2, which will consist of 3 stages in and around the town. These 3 stages will make up no less than 62 kilometres. First up is the 15 kilometres of Van Geerden's Apteke, immediately followed by 27 kilometres at the Toowoomba Research Centre. Another 20 kilometres of dusty roads at 2020 developments will conclude the first loop of stages. This is the Castrol Toyota Yaris of rally leaders Leroy Poulter and Elvin Kutsia, the first car to tackle each of the day's stages. It is normally a disadvantage, but Poulter was clearly in the zone here in Bela Bela, as he set the fastest time of all on stage 5. Mark Cronier and Robin Housen would have started the day with the intention to stop the Poulter steam train, but their time on stage 5 was nearly 6 seconds slower. The Ford lost another second to Poulter on stage 6, so the overnight gap between the two had grown from 19 seconds to 26. The third-place duo of Hargen Fekken and Pierre Arries had plans to close in on Cronier ahead of them, and a stage victory on stage 6 helped them do just that. But Fekken received a 20-second time penalty for hitting a safety barrier near the end of the stage, dropping him into the clutches of the chasing pack. The leader of the chasing pack was still the new Africa Developments Ford Fiesta of Japie van Niekerk and Gerard Snyman. Van Niekerk was both fast and consistent, and now less than 10 seconds from Fekken's 3rd position. Tilo Himmel and Armand de Toy started the final day in 5th place, but he too was judged guilty of touching the same barrier as Fekken, also earning him a 20-second time penalty. And in a fight this close, 20 seconds was enough to relegate the young man from 5th position all the way down to 8th. Volkswagen Sassel Racing teammates Henk Latergan and Barry White gained a position or 2 to move up into 5th overall. But another puncture on the same stage as the day before meant he tumbled back down the leaderboard.
Same rock, the same corner, we hit it again.
With positions chopping and changing, and the names of drivers coming and going, Gugu Zulu and Hilton Ofri were happy to continue their merry ways by quietly sneaking into 5th position overall, once again proving that consistency can go a long way. Behind Zulu, Janelle de Villiers was also on the comeback trail, following his setback from day 1. The Castrol Toyota Auris climbed back up the leaderboard to end this loop of stages in 7th. 8th still belonged to NRC 4 leaders Wilbur Dippenaar and Kes Naidu in the PZN Paddle Beaters Auris, despite of power steering problems and a few other mechanical niggles that slowed his progress. But at the very top, Marc Cronje and Leroy Polter win a class of their own, and now miles ahead of the chasing pack. But it was also do or die for Cronje, who tried everything in his power to hunt Polter down. But the current champion saw off the attack and reached the service park with his lead very much intact. The gap at the top of the leaderboard between the names of Leroy Polter and Marc Cronje stands at 27 seconds. Hergen Vekken is now more than a minute and a half back, with Japie van Niekerk breathing down his neck and with Gugu Zulu up into 5th. Back in the Dunlop Service Park, there was one last chance to work out a final strategy, and for Hergen Vekken, it must have been to settle for 3rd.
We have to be realistic. I think it's a little bit too far to try and catch the other two.
By now, and with a deficit of 27 seconds, Marc Cronje was thinking of the overall championship.
It's got to be a bit of a conservative approach because we still got the championship in our focus.
And after winning all but one stage so far, everything kept going right for Leroy Polter.
It seems like it went well, and we just got to keep it there.
This is it, the final few kilometres of the Bela Bela Motor Rally. Stages 8, 9 and 10 were to be run on the trot without the chance to service the cars in between. But they were exactly the same as stages 5, 6 and 7 from earlier in the day, except with an added little detour that brought the action to the doorsteps of the residents of the Bela Bela township. A tough weekend for Wilro Dippenaar, who had to contend with a number of issues, but he brought his car safely home for a top 8 finish and the NRC 4-class victory. And 7th overall was probably a career best for youngster Ernie van der Walt in the Vecto Petroleum Toyota Yaris, who's showing maturity and improving with every outing. And 6th is most definitely not what Volkswagen's Henk Latergan had in mind when he started this event, but he will live to fight another day. Fifth at the finish is a very good comeback for Janelle de Villiers, who started the day down in 9th, and with time so close, it was simply impossible to make bigger inroads. We were now getting closer to the business end of the Bela Bela Motor Rally. The top positions and the chance to spray champagne from the podium is what it's all about. And who knows, this could well have been a chance for Namibian Thilo Himmel to do just that. But contact with the local Flora on stage 9 brought an end to his challenge. With Himmel reduced to a spectator, the door was wide open for Gugu Zulu to grab a better spot on the leaderboard, and that's exactly what the fastest brother in Africa did. 4th place for the popular Volkswagen driver. But what about the all-important podium? Hergen Vekken was on course for a fine 3rd place finish.
Oh, holy crap, man. Oh, what the
Dis iets al net al langs die pad.
I don't believe it.
But contact with a tree stump brought that dream to a frustrating end. And thank you very much is most probably what went through Japie van Niekerk's mind when he passed the stricken polo on the side of the road. It's not often that you receive gifts in this sport, so when you do, grab it with both hands, which is exactly what Van Niekerk did. And this was the final showdown between defending champion and rally leader Leroy Polter and former champion but current championship leader Marc Cronje. Cronje has been the class of the field so far in 2015, but Polter managed to turn the tables here in Bela Bela, and with just a few kilometres to go and a gap of nearly half a minute in Polter's favour, neither of them were prepared to risk anything further. A valiant effort by Cronje in the end, but he had no choice but to settle for 2nd. While a brilliant performance from Polter earns him the first victory of 2015, and a dominant one at that. A flag-to-flag victory for Leroy Polter, who ends on top, 28 seconds clear of Marc Cronje. Japie van Niekerk makes it 2 forwards on the podium, while Gugu Zulu's good form continues with a fine 4th, just 9 seconds ahead of Janelle de Villiers. It's been a tough season so far, but Japie van Niekerk finally managed to return to the podium.
We just needed some good luck, you know, not persistent or constant bad luck.
Second place is probably not enough to satisfy Mark Renier's hunger for victory. He still has a commanding lead in the overall championship.
We've definitely got a sound points lead in the championship at the moment, but it's still a long way to go, and the fight's definitely going to be on, but I'm up for it, eh?
This was a must-win situation for Leroy Poulter if he had any intentions of retaining his title, so this victory could not have come at a better time.
For sure, you know, we needed this really badly, you know, for the championship for ourselves.
We now enter the second half of the 2015 South African Rally Championship, and what an event we have in store. It's a big one, the annual and very popular Volkswagen Rally on 17 and 18 July down in the Eastern Cape and in Volkswagen's backyard. It will feature the fearsome Longmore Forest, as well as a number of spectator-friendly stages, so don't miss it. Highlights of round 4 of the South African Rally Championship was proudly presented by the South African Rally Commission and its partners, Toyota, Volkswagen, Ford, Sasol and Dunlop.